What is up, y'all? Thank you for tuning in today. We are here with another episode of the student section. I'm Mr. Perez at MP3. We got chapter 4 on today. Everybody welcome Nico Morales.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you taking time on your day off to be here and do this interview with me.
Of course.
I really wanted to get you on the show because you have backgrounds, just your student experience. You have an idea of jumping, what it's like to jump from district to district, and also finishing in an alternative high school, which is where I currently teach. So I'm very intrigued to hear your answers on some of these questions that I have for you. But thank you for being here. Let's just start off. If you want to tell us a little bit about who you are, that'd be great.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me again. But my name's Nico Morales, like you said. Self-employed. I'm a delivery driver right now. I'm kind of just going with the flow at the moment, seeing what arrives, planning stuff out for the future, kind of just taking trips and seeing what life throws at me at the moment. So that's what I got going on for myself.
Cool, man. Sounds exciting.
It is.
So All right, that's good. Living your best life. Being as young as you are, already starting to travel. That's really cool.
Yeah, just trying to open my eyes to other things, because once you stay in one place, you kind of you get in that loop and you think that's all it is. But once you actually open your eyes a little bit, there's a lot more for you, I guess, and it makes me a little more inspired that there's more out there rather than just in town.
Yeah. Dang, 2 minutes in, not even, maybe a minute in, already getting deep on us. I love it. So anyways, for those of y'all who don't know, Nico is my cousin.
Yes.
So a very special guest. I've known you basically my whole life. Used to
big inspiration for me for sure growing up.
Used to watch him when he was younger and had some crazy stories from babysitting times. And anyways, just a really cool young man to have on the show. He's grown into a young man. I remember when he was at my shoulder height and stuff. So really, this one's going to be very meaningful to me in the relationship that we have. So it's really cool to have you on, man.
Thanks for having me again, man.
Yeah.
It's definitely an honor.
Yes, sir. So Nico had some time where he went from different school districts, and like I said, he finished an alternative high school. So I'd like it if you just maybe give us more about your journey. How did you end up transitioning from district to district? How was it changing schools? And then, why did you eventually go off to alternative high school, and how was that?
And what I first started with was Hasty ISD. I was over at Lehman, and I grew up there my whole life, and a lot of my friends I went to preschool, first, second, at least junior high with, and stuff like that. So it was pretty easy to mesh with everyone. But once I made the transition to San Marcos ISD, that's when I had a few friends there, but it was definitely a little switch up since I wasn't with people I grew up with my whole time, teachers I saw all the time.
Right.
So it was a little different. Even the scheduling was different too. I believe it was block scheduling compared to just a regular schedule. So it was a little more different to get used to for me. But what I found comfort in was kind of just sports. My first school, I played sports, football, baseball, tennis as well. So I got my hands a little on everything for sure. And I enjoyed all of them. All the people I met throughout the time, all the coaches I met. But San Marcos, they really drew me in. That was my biggest love for San Marcos, was the actual baseball team and how the brothers brought me in and made me feel a family. So that's what I liked about it. But once I ended up taking another step towards my alternative school, that's when I would say it became easy. I kind of wrapped it up, and it was towards the last senior year of my life. But sure enough, it was pretty self-explanatory. I did what I had to do, got out of high school, and kind of just started living life at least.
Yeah, okay. And so was there any particular reason you decided to finish at the alternative high school? Was it mandatory, or was it just did you fall behind, or was it just something you made a decision?
A little mixture of both, I would say.
Okay.
I would say I slowly, towards the end of the San Marcos era, I stopped going, so I needed to start picking it up, or I was gonna have to get transferred towards the new school. So it was a good little mixture of both, and I think it was kind of just a self thing, because I knew a lot of my friends, and even one of my brothers graduated from there, so I did see that and kind of saw that as another route, even though it's not the most preferenceable. I didn't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah, and you mentioned your brother, and he's and Jaime. If you're watching this, man, I hope you come on for the I hope you come on for the next one. So, so that's why I was really interested in having you, and I want to get him on because before he graduated from that alternative high school, I'd never even heard of alternative high schools really. So it's really cool to hear that. But so it sounds like you had a little bit of self growth within that time there.
Definitely.
So that's cool to hear. What were your teachers like there? What were they? What did you like about them, or was there anything you didn't like, or just I guess for the ones who really inspired you, what did they do? Because a lot of times, like you were saying, it doesn't really get a good rep.
Mm-hmm.
People think, oh, alternative high school, like what? But it's like, you're still getting your diploma.
Yeah.
So, but it's like for students who take that route, a lot of the times they're not motivated. You said you stopped going to school. So how did these teachers get you to start wanting to be there, at least get you to start wanting to do your work? Like, was there anything special they did?
No, that's a good question. A lot of the teachers really were invested into teaching and stuff like that. I think the 4 teachers I had, all of them spent their time within that hour and a half with me, locking in, getting what I needed to get done. So I think they're really driven to get you out of there and like get you where you need to be for sure. So I think with that alternative school, it's a lot more hands-on work for sure, rather than just a lecture and like letting the kids kind of work it out, because they really motivate you and kind of push me to that second level where it's like, oh, they actually care, they actually want me to succeed, or at least get out of here.
And then get out of here.
Doing their job. But they're doing their job for sure. So it made me feel comfortable over there. And
that's good.
Compared to the 2 schools, I preference, there's teachers at both schools where I liked, and they definitely had their days, but that alternative school made me feel at home for sure.
Okay.
Made me feel comfortable with a lot of the other students have going on.
Yeah, and so like I guess like the difference from the bigger schools, you probably had less students in your classroom, and
of course, yeah.
So more one-on-one with the teachers,
exactly, and stuff like that. So I think that really helped me individually wise, because I just like being taught. I like the teaching. I like just talking to the teacher rather than kind of avoiding the question or having a question and afraid to raise the hand. So just being able to like turn around and talk to a teacher was always nice.
Yeah,
I would say so.
Yeah, I think if you're going to teach an alternative high school, you definitely got to have an ability to connect with your students.
Yeah.
You got to show them that you care, because a lot of times these students don't care, and they need somebody to invest in them. So it's good that you had teachers that did that for you.
Yeah, I'm glad they were there for me.
Yeah. So shout out to those teachers at that school.
Definitely.
So, no, that's awesome. And so I guess what would you? And obviously, that's where you finished. So that's definitely what you needed at that time in your life.
Yeah.
If you could go back and do it again, would you have done it differently?
I think I would do it differently, just because I wanted the high school experiences. If I was at the first high school my whole career, I feel like that would have been, or my whole high school lifetime, that would have been my preference. But just moving out to San Marcos, and I think it would have been a little too hectic, and it would have been just the transportation and stuff wouldn't have worked out. So I think it was the best route for me in the time. But if I got to choose and I could change time and make my own decisions, I definitely would have stayed in Kyle and kind of rode it out with my friends.
Yeah.
Kind of just played the rest of my sport days and kind of just hung around and went to prom and everything like that with my friends and stuff like that. So that's the one thing I miss, but I enjoy the life I kind of grew up into because it grew me to what I am now.
There you go.
So.
No regrets, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And actually, I would have been teaching at that school if you had stayed. I would have been the teacher there for a couple of years before you graduated.
Man.
But because you're about the same age. I think you're the same age as Cisco, and Cisco was at San Marcos when I was there. So, so yeah, man. So, I think that I get what you're saying, and I often think about that for my students. Getting they miss out on prom, and they miss out on all these other exciting things that happen your senior year.
Exactly.
And so I definitely feel for them there, and it's just it's sad. I don't know what the answer is, but I wish they could find whatever it is they find, that motivation that they find at the alternative high school. It would be nice if they could find it sooner, so that they all could still have those experiences. And
every year that goes by, it's
right.
just another person missing a memory. But
yeah.
Honestly, they make it pretty suitable for at least the San Marcos environment for sure. So
right.
I know we were allowed to go to that prom, but it was like
nice
before, so we just had to go a little earlier.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Well, still, that's something at least. Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, honestly, that was probably my decision. Just wanting to stay at one spot.
Yeah.
But I definitely like the decisions I made and whatever life threw at me for sure.
Right. And obviously, some students don't have that luxury. Some students are just so behind, or they just a lot of times it's students who have to work to help their family.
Yes.
And some of them already have a family, so things of that nature. So this is really good purpose for the alternative high school and things like that, where they probably wouldn't even have time for those things anyway. But sometimes for those kids like you who could have still done some of that stuff.
Definitely. It's definitely just a good route. It makes them feel like they can get it done rather than just seeing one option and like if I can't do it, there's no option.
Right. Yeah, I mean, because and I was gonna get into what Jaime did, but that's gonna be his episode, so I'm gonna wait on that.
Got some questions brewing already.
Yeah, already. I'm already. There you go. So, throughout your entire school career. It doesn't necessarily have to be high school or whatever, but and you even did a little bit of time, at community college, so you have some more experience there. So that just goes to show, even if you take the alternative high school route, you can still go to college and do that stuff as well.
Yes.
Anyway, so what do you think was the greatest lesson you've learned throughout your entire career? Whatever the lesson was, what was it?
My lesson that I learned throughout kind of my high school and early junior high days was just the effort you put in is the effort you're going to get back for sure. That's what I really found out for sure. Because at first I was really trying, going all out, kind of just seeing what this life was, seeing my friends kind of getting into that getting good grades and kind of getting into that hype that they're getting good grades, could have better opportunities for themselves, and I found that was a better life because usually I never really got good grades. I would just kind of average out, and once I would average out, it would just be fine for me, and I really came content with a lot of things. But sure enough, the effort you put in is the effort you're going to get out for sure. That's all I will say.
So you compared yourself to your other friends who were getting the good grades, and so they were putting a little bit more effort into work. I would say so.
Okay. I definitely could have put in a little more, and just personally, I felt like I could have done more. So I know I could have done more, and they got better grades than me throughout the year. So yeah, obviously they were doing something I wasn't.
Do you think there was some way, because obviously you're gonna have those students who are not as motivated to do schoolwork and for different reasons. Yours, what would you mind? What was maybe your reason for not putting as much effort in?
I think honestly it was a little bit of first time I hit depression really, because when I went to San Marcos and I was by myself out there, I kind of lost touch with my older brother too as well, because he started living his life, and that was my kind of just go-to person already. So doing that, moving out, losing all my friends. I had a girlfriend at the time too. I wasn't able to see anymore. It just felt like I was isolating myself, and the routes I chose and the stuff I chose was just the wrong way, I would say, and kind of just got led another direction rather than what I should have been focusing on. So that's really my gist of that. Yeah, I would say so. Mm-hmm.
So more of a personal battle. Do you think there was anything that a school member or staff member, teacher could have done to help you with that?
I think maybe just ask, dude. Just seeing someone, because I was always I never really sat with anyone at lunch, so I would just go into teachers' classrooms and kind of just do work actually in the classroom and just sit there and eat my lunch. Yeah. So I was like, man, maybe just seeing that and seeing why is he sitting here, why is he always coming in alone or something like that. Maybe just reaching out and I don't know, maybe just in the classroom, maybe just seeing he sits alone, so get him interactive with maybe a group or maybe a crowd or something like that.
Man, well, I wish I was your teacher. I would have done that. I think I would have.
I bet you would have, because you always getting involved and you put yourself in their shoes. So that's what I always.
Dang, that's tough, man. Well, geez. So okay, and that kind of goes into I was gonna ask what do what do we need more of in schools, or how do schools kind of need to evolve and change? And I guess you kind of answered that. Just picking up on the subtle things, the little things. Especially since. And I think most of you, I don't know, did you started at the beginning of the school year at the new school?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Okay, so I guess technically your teachers may not have known that you were brand new to the district and stuff.
Yeah,
but
so that was really just starting up. But to follow that question, I think another thing they can possibly do is kind of maybe get more student staff involved, maybe getting more opinions from the actual students, and maybe a grade or two after graduation, maybe bringing them back on, and maybe just having some students give some insight at least to what kids might want and kind of prefer, I guess, to a certain degree, because I think that would help out the school environment rather than having some old heads tell you what to do all the time. There are some old people on the staff, and I'm yeah, they know it, but times have changed for sure.
No, you're so right. Times have definitely changed. I'm almost considered an old head now, and I'm only 6 years your senior. Yeah. So, man, no, I like that answer. That is something I'm gonna sit with. I'm going to definitely re-watch that part specifically because I think that is a brilliant idea, bringing people who have gone through that same thing and what are they doing now, how can, you know what I mean? And that's part of why I'm doing this. I'm talking to you.
Exactly, yes.
I can share this with my students. Man, that is a really brilliant idea. I like that.
That's what I just think would kind of help out the students and just give them an involvement, make them feel welcome at least. Because I feel like that's what schools should be. They should feel welcome and they should want to do the work. That's a lot of their second homes at least. So,
right.
Yeah. So just making them feel at home and making them feel like they can do what they can do there. But I know students and other kids, there's bigger factors into play for sure.
Right. Of course, everybody has their own story, but for a general idea, that's good. And so you said more student faculty kind of, relationships or rapport, I guess. Something I've been thinking about is like maybe interest groups or clubs, just kind of like, and leaning towards sports would probably do like a student-led sports club, like
something like that.
You'd probably, baseball or something like that. So, and then you got a teacher who might be interested in baseball. They can sponsor the club kind of deal.
Definitely, yes.
I definitely, and now, and I think the reason we're not seeing more of that is teachers already have a whole lot on their plate, and students as well, but I definitely think that is a step in the right direction, because then it's, if we can give the teachers something, they love to do or something they're more passionate about, and that's a way to relate with their kids, I think that's freaking awesome.
No, it definitely gives that second wind, that motivation to accomplish what you have to accomplish, even if it's like that during the lunch period, you just know during the middle of the day you at least have something to look forward to.
Yeah. No, for sure, that's pretty cool. I think that is freaking. You should work in education. Go change the game.
Yeah, you get my name in there.
There you go. Yeah. So that kind of speaks to what I was leaning towards, like, because, and I asked this to my last guest on chapter 2, creating a sense of belonging. And now you're kind of the example of a student we were talking about. Now for a different reason, because you're pretty good with your social skills. You had friends, but you go into a new school, where you don't know as many people, and having to make friends, and you're freaking 16 years old. You know what I mean? Like, that's a tough age to start fresh, start new, and make new friends, because everybody's kind of like established in their ways or whatever. But how can we create a better sense of belonging, not just for, because you said sports, right? Sports, you love that brotherhood, that, so automatically you made connections through sports, through baseball. But like for students who aren't involved in sports or aren't involved in anything, there's kids that come to school, go home. Like literally all that they do, and when you became an alternative high school student, that was you would literally go, just school and back. So how could we create a better sense of belonging for these kids before y'all get into an alternative high school, like a traditional high school, where it's much bigger, much more students, so it's easier to get lost in the wind or whatever you want to say.
I can definitely see that. No, that's a good question.
You have any ideas?
There really is like an open-ended, because there's really no answer, but still, something that I feel like would benefit a lot of people is just like the activities that we do. Kind of like, I always like the Kahoot, just because like everyone invested their time in that. Maybe the text message, little group chats, because I like just getting updates, or even just seeing that I have an assignment, just seeing the teacher text me. I'm like, all right, at least a reminder. They care, they're letting you know like you have something that you have to do. So rather than just in classroom, because that's what I feel like a lot of teachers do. They just like period to period, and once they get that done, they did what they had to do. But some teachers always go out their way and kind of want to help other kids out, and I feel like that's what's really going to help out. And just with social media in general, I feel like that's going to be a big influence for sure. Like a lot of people use social media, a lot of people don't either, but I think that's just a tool that we need to use a lot more.
Yeah.
I mean, they're bringing it in for a lot of apps and stuff like that, but I think that could maybe log a lot of people, maybe like how Zoom is and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Bring a little calls together and kind of getting people involved.
Yeah. Okay, so just showing the little things that that the teacher cares and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would say so.
And we kind of, we tackled it a little bit with the bringing students back, for other students to relate to, and then, like you said, more involvement with the faculty. And I think the clubs are a really good way to kind of do that. I just.
Yeah, no, definitely. If they invested into maybe some more, that would be really cool. Like when you said sports clubs, or even just like if you're into cards or something like that, just something just for that time period. Like it'll be a free time, but you have other kids that are invested into it. That's lifelong friends for sure.
Exactly. Like
you love to see that.
Yeah, instant connection. So that's a way, for new student in the district. If somebody was running a baseball club or something, like, hey, let me just go check it out.
Sign up for that.
There you go. Like instead of eating lunch in this classroom real quick, I'm gonna go there and. Man, that's cool.
You have a little group then. Yeah, so that's what I really enjoy. But yeah, just having groups I feel like always helps me out. I mean, duos always help out too. Some random person could walk up to you and that could spark up a friendship for a lifetime. But I love just having a group and making you feel as a team. I always grew up on that. Just having a big family, always playing baseball for sure all my life. It was just always a family. Even the baseball team was a family always. Okay. So it just makes you feel comfortable and you just feel at home. I like feeling at home and being comfortable where I'm at.
What would your advice be to a teacher who wants to create a family in their classroom? Because it's so difficult because you got all these students of different backgrounds and you always have your little social cliques, and so people are always divided in some way or another. But do you have any insight on what you would say to a teacher who's trying to create a family in their classroom, what advice might you give them?
It wouldn't be anything crazy. I would just say maybe try to relate to the kids. You can only do so much being their friends because you are a teacher and you don't want to try to get too comfortable, because that tends to happen a lot with the cool teachers. I kind of noticed. A lot of the students wouldn't like really respect them. They would just think it's like a chill period.
Right.
So maybe like kind of just getting them involved. I mean, just like the music, certain days, asking, maybe throwing suggestions in a hat or like in a jar and just pulling one out, playing some music throughout a day or a playlist or something like that. That'd be cool. Just the little things like that, just getting all the kids involved instead of just kind of just individually teaching and then going to the next period and kind of just going projector to projector, slide to slide.
Projector to projector, that's like overhead projector.
Yeah, I see that in a while.
Hey, that brought me back to 8th grade now.
That was in a while.
Man.
A few of them.
That's crazy. That's crazy. No, that's really interesting. That's a really good concept. I had a professor who did that with us in college, and it was like a cool. I mean, he had 100 kids in there. Yeah, like 100 of us in that room, and we all the very first day of school on a piece of paper write down 2 your favorite songs at the time, and every day, every 10 minutes before class, he was playing somebody's songs. We didn't know who they were. It's anonymous, so you don't have to be embarrassed or whatever. But like if you were playing One Direction, you're over there singing or whatever, they might know what you was. No, but
people that don't want to listen to it kind of jamming out to it too.
Right, yeah. So it's like, you like it. Come on, just join the group.
Exactly, but I like having that and just kind of just giving suggestions out there, letting the class kind of run things at least, or be involved at least. Maybe just getting them involved in the classroom. And I've always enjoyed it. I know there's a pressure of walking up to the board and maybe answering things, but I always liked getting called on and maybe just like being told, even if I'm wrong, I like being told that I'm wrong so I can at least know what the answer is rather than not saying anything at all. So that was my biggest thing in high school, that like, I would think I know or I think I'm wrong, but still I would never find out just because I wouldn't reach out to it.
Yeah. Okay, So you brought it up, so I want to follow up on it. But the idea of calling on like random students, because I think a lot of teachers struggle with this, and because I struggled with it too, and I was always worried about putting someone on the spot, because I remember how nervous I would get when I was in school, and even though I probably was right on the money, like with the answer, depending on the class. But I was always so nervous because whatever reason I now like you're like, dude, like I can't get Jeff to shut up whenever we're hanging out with him. But so like I was always real nervous whenever a teacher was getting ready to ask somebody the answer to a question or just to share their even just sharing a response. So you literally couldn't be right or wrong.
Exactly, man. Just the anticipation, the pressure. You feel like the world's all looking at you, man. But I definitely know that feeling, but I just enjoyed being involved a little bit and kind of just answering questions for a classroom, man. Like I always loved the popcorn reading because you never knew who was going to come next. You always felt like you were going to be next, but it just keeps you on your toes for sure. It makes you pay attention, and I feel like that's what the kids need to do, because I definitely had a lot of classes where I knew I could just sit in the back because they wouldn't call on me. Those are classes where I could just sit there the whole time. So those were the easy classes, but still, those are probably the ones I know the least in since I didn't get more involved in.
Okay.
But I know that pressure of like having to choose on someone, not knowing the answer, embarrassing them in front of the class, and then they get demotivated. So that's a double-edged sword on everything. But you just gotta, if they do get it wrong or if they don't know, maybe you just gotta spend some extra time. Then you have to spend some extra time with them, or maybe just get them involved a little more. But that's what it comes down to. Once they feel a presence, they start talking a little more. Honestly, that's what I do. Once I start getting involved in the classroom, I feel more comfortable.
Right.
So that's what I like. That's what I enjoy. That's what I would prefer for a classroom, but it's not a perfect world.
No. Do you think there needs to be more of a focus on life skills or real life applications, or solving life issues, personal issues, daily life issues, whatever you want to call it? Do you think school should that be something the school should try to tackle? Like, is that?
Yes, I definitely think so. That's a really good question, and I think they should put that in there because a lot of people just don't know how to deal with a lot of these things, and they're already going through, like how you said, a lot of them start families early, a lot of them lose loved ones real early, so they just have to live with all this while people are living normal high school lifestyles. So it's a weird little mixture inside one classroom for sure, but I would say so, definitely. Saying that midway through, I kind of forgot the question.
Okay, you're good. And Teddy's not helping. For those of y'all who, I apologize if this audio has some random clinks and clanks and a little bit of dog whining.
That's not me over here.
Yeah, so we had to put Teddy in the crate. He's showing off for y'all. We had to put him in the crate because he was going a little wild. He's just a 6-month-old puppy, so he's still learning, and I feel bad for him. I promise you, he gets treated well. He
got a lot of treats on the floor.
Yes,
a little spoiled.
I try to motivate him with treats, and he's still letting me down. But so sorry about that. But anyway, so sorry if that threw your train of thought off. I'm sorry if well, maybe that's entertainment. Don't come at me. Don't PETA. Don't no animal rights crap. Like I promise you, he's fine. He's just being.
See him from here.
Yeah, he's just being a baby. Being a baby. Yeah, for sure. So anyway, so the question was basically, do you think schools should take an initiative to try and help students with these personal battles or these struggles? Just and obviously, so I don't know if people know at work. Basically, we're not told what we can teach. We're told this is what we're required to teach. We only get to decide how we teach it. But I think it's important that schools should take more initiative, like you said. So I want to hear what you have to say about taking initiative on the personal battles students could possibly be dealing with, and how would they do that? How should we approach that?
And yeah, that's a good question. And honestly, I think there is a lot of things they can kind of approach or at least put into classrooms that will help a lot of kids out, because there's a lot of different kids in there, good little mixture inside a classroom. Some people lose people early. Some people kind of just get depressed. Some people just have different upbringings. So there's always going to be different type of people or kids in the classroom for sure. And everyone's still so young, even in high school, being a senior. Everyone kind of has their ego and thinks they know what's going on. But once you walk that stage and get out, then you see what the real world's like. It kind of wakes you up for sure. So I think they should just kind of tackle the issues that you're going to deal with regardless, kind of depression or kind of just working on taxes and stuff like that. Stuff you can use throughout your lifetime. Because one thing you taught me or showed me for sure that really opened my eyes was the class called Avid.
Yeah.
That one really motivated me to want to go to college and kind of pursue my education for sure, because it actually got you involved with your hands and kind of went to the campuses and got to write stuff out, write applications, and kind of got you ready for what you needed to do. And a lot of the classrooms never really did that. They just taught you things. So that one really opened my eyes to a lot of things, and I never had a class like that, so that one really stuck with me for sure.
Okay, so like maybe even an entire class on dealing with this kind of, because that's always my issue is because it's going to take a lot for somebody to be comfortable enough opening up to somebody and sharing their issues and talking it out. And so hearing that actually makes a whole lot of sense. Now again, we're not told what we can teach, but maybe that has to start off as a club or something maybe. But that's cool. And Avid was a cool class. Definitely, owe a lot of credit to my Avid teacher, Mr. Hardy, and he did a whole lot for me, and I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I knew absolutely nothing about college. I knew absolutely nothing about applying, and he helped a whole lot. He even drove me up to UT Austin one time. So. That's cool. It's a definitely cool class if a district offers it. I don't know, not all districts offer it.
That's what I noticed. But once you kind of opened my eyes to it and kind of saw what it was really motivating and kind of got me motivated to kind of want to do school. I was like, man, this is really what it is, and they're putting it in front of you. You got to do the work, but they give it to you. Yeah,
now that class definitely takes a whole lot of effort. You definitely got to put the work in, but so meaningful. You get a lot out of it.
Definitely.
And the great thing about that is that depending on the teacher running, but like what Mr. Hardy did was he was great at establishing those relationships with the students, and that class was like a family. Like he really made it like that, and so that's cool. I should maybe reflect on that a little bit more, because I haven't thought about that. But so you opened my eyes to stuff, man. That's cool.
That's what I'm here for.
Exactly. That's exactly what you're here for. Yeah. So you have a couple younger brothers.
Yes.
You got one in high school, one in middle school, and one in elementary, and one who's still in diapers, I think. So you got some ones coming. You got some coming up, and for the next 15 so odd years, you're gonna have brothers who are still in school. So not only to them, but to anybody who's currently in high school, or currently in middle school, or currently starting out in kindergarten, like whatever the message may be, because you've been talking about, because it'd be great if you knew what you knew now then, right? That's always the story. Wherever you're at, it's like, dang, if I knew that then, I would have been, that's always the case. So, what advice, to anybody who may be watching this, who may be a student, who may be still in school, or for your brothers, what advice would you give to them as a student and like as somebody who's been through that?
Exactly. I wish it was more educational, but it's just live in the moment for sure. Because what I always found myself doing, even in junior high when I was kind of younger, like I was looking forward to high school. Even in high school, I was looking forward to college. I was kind of looking forward to getting out. And then once you're out, you can't get that time back at all. So you really have to live in the moment and kind of soak it in and accept what it is. Because that's something I never did. And that's why I like being comfortable now, because that's what I never was. Like in high school and kind of junior high, I was always just kind of like wandering or kind of like being a step ahead, trying to wanting to get out already rather than just being there, enjoying the moment and soaking it in for sure. That's what I would tell the kids for sure. That's what I have to tell myself a lot of the time, still to this day. That you just got to stay in the moment rather than looking forward. I mean, it's always good to look forward for sure, but it's just living in the moment is always going to be a better option for you, because you're going to soak in and enjoy a lot of the moments that you think you're just passing out for sure.
Yeah.
Even just walking out to the store with some friends, you can just enjoy that up. Because I don't do that no more.
No, that is some great advice, man. I love that where you went with that direction, and it kind of brings me back to and I don't know, every time, because being that we're cousins and we like to hang out, we like to quote a lot of movies. Mm-hmm. We've seen a lot of inappropriate movies together, such as like The Hangover and stuff. But the dude who plays Doug, no, not Doug. Who's the dentist? The dentist, Phil. So Andrew Bernard on The Office.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about, the scene. And if you're not an Office fan, at least go watch that scene. But he says a famous quote on there that really hits. It's a funny show, whatever, but they have these deep moments, especially towards the end. And he says, I wish you knew you were in the good old days when you're in the good old days. And it kind of that's instantly what came to mind when you said that message. But, because I think all of us in some way, some form can say, damn, I wish I did that when I was then, or damn, I missed out on this, or I wish I would have appreciated that a whole lot more. And as you get older, it doesn't get any easier then, because I find myself the same way. Like, I wish I would have done this a little bit more when I was in that moment. So
I definitely see that a lot.
That is good advice, not just for the younger generations coming up, but for people who are older. For me, that's good advice.
No, definitely. And I just one of my coaches always told me just mental reps, and that really stuck with me a lot. So I've just seen someone go through something, or just seeing someone kind of just go through a daily function. That's what I kind of just rep and kind of try to mimic, really. Yeah. Just if it's working for them, it can work for me, and if it works for me, just go along with it.
Yeah.
So, mental reps, that's all it really is for me.
Yeah. And see, Caleb Densman, my chapter 1, and he's at Overthinker Man on Twitter. He has his own podcast called
Shout out.
Yeah, Diaries of an Overthinker. And I've been listening to his podcast. Actually, he released an episode today, and I usually listen to the day of every day. Today I have not listened to it yet, so I'll probably I'm going to tune into that. I was going to tune in on my drive home, but I ended up catching up with an old teacher friend. But anyway, he has the same kind of message in his last episode, not this most recent one, but last week's episode. Mm-hmm. He had the same kind of message of, he wished he would have, appreciated it more. So it's not just coming from you, and he's a totally different person than you, and he has the same kind of message. So, and he even referenced a song by, I believe the dude's name is Zach Bryan, and it has a lyric that basically says the same thing. So it's just interesting to see, but it's so inspiring, because you're, how old are you?
I'm 22.
22. Densman he's 19, about to be 20.
Man.
Yeah, so for y'all to have such young mindsets, and Caleb Santos, I've told him so much about how he thinks, but for all these youngins, whatever you want to call yourselves, like, y'all just have a different way of thinking. And when I was that age, I'm like, man, y'all are so far advanced compared to where I was mentally in that time. So
and that really just comes back to the times changing for sure.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff that's working back then is really not working now, since kids are thinking like this.
Right.
That's why I feel like a lot of these things like depression and stuff are coming to a lot of high school kids, and even I see junior high kids now, and I'm like, it started early. I never even thought about that till I was a junior. I never had to feel those effects really, but I guess it's really what you go through in the time period you're in. So. Yeah. But yeah, honestly, I've seen a lot more of that, and kind of just going in the youth-wise, even in the music, there's a lot of just depression, and that's what sells at this point right now. There's a lot of depression, a lot of sadness. So there needs to be more sources and more therapists or people to talk to for sure. Because I've never talked to a therapist. I don't even know how to get in contact with a therapist. Yeah. And I'm 22, so I can go out my way and reach out, but I've never found out solutions or anything like to lead me that path. Yeah. Man, that is. I was trying to. You know, you said you started experiencing depression in high school, and like I feel like I have some form of depression here and there. I think anxiety is what I deal more with personally, and I didn't start feeling anxious and having anxiety until 2015. So what is that, like 7 years ago? Mostly,
I'm not a math person, but so I was in college. I was like 21, 22 years old. So. And that was when I first started experiencing it. So, you know, for that, you know, people deal with that now, like you said, in middle school and high school, like so much younger, and it kind of begs the question why and how do we, you know, attack it? Especially we just dealt with the pandemic, and mental health is like a hot issue topic right now. So, but I think it's important to know, and I brought this up in my last episode, chapter 3, when it was just me. That, you know, your teachers are human. I promise you, not all of them are just living perfect lives. Like they're probably dealing with anxiety too, dealing with depression too, and you know, you don't know about their past. So, and something that Caleb Santos said was, you know, give your teachers a chance, like get to know them as a person. Yeah, it's something that he said, cool. And it's cool because because you don't know, like I could have the same story you do, and you would have never known if you never took the interest. Because right. That's not something I'm just going to openly share with my students. Like, hey, you know. So it just all depends, but you know, I could really relate to a student I really want to be on here at some point, and I just don't know if I can get him, you know, to be on here, just comfortable speaking and stuff. He's real nervous about it, but I remember, you know, I was really having a hard time getting to get through to him, and you know, he experienced a loss of a brother, and so that whole first year was just. You know, and then at the end of that year, that's when Joseph passed away, and then it was like, boom, dude, I get it. I get what you're going through. Exactly. So
that's what people need to at a certain period of time. That's why everyone comes into their life at certain periods.
Exactly.
Might be the reason.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of reasons. You just gotta talk it out for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't talk. I like to keep it in. I like to isolate myself, so I can't even say I need to study my own craft, I guess. Right?
Yeah. So, practice what you preach.
Exactly.
So, but I mean, so it was. You know, having to deal with that, and this student right here, this young man, he's probably helped me more than he even knows, and you know, but we dealt with some personal loss together, and the very next year we were just very close. It was just a different year than the first year, and that young man has matured into an exceptional young man. I'm very proud of how he's doing, and so I really do hope we can get him on the show. So if you're watching this, you know who I'm talking about. So I hope you decide to come on down, and
not that nerve-wracking. It's pretty easy. He's pretty easy guy to talk to.
There you go. And I just think you have, you know, everybody who's been on this show, you know, you have such a unique experience, and it doesn't matter who you are. Mm-hmm. Everybody has a story to tell. Everybody can relate to something, right? Like even if somebody who didn't relate to the first 2 episodes, they may be relating to you.
True.
And vice versa, right? So, like, everybody has an audience who needs to hear what they need to say.
Yes,
all right?
Everyone has a voice for a reason.
Exactly.
Definitely.
So it's just a matter of, you know, let's get it out to the right audience. So, and then, you know, you're speaking on the, you know, depression cells or whatever. It made me think of Mac Miller, you know, who, you know, I just wish, you know, they could do things when they were still here to kind of help them and for people to see it. So it made me think of Logic, and Logic came out with that song where the suicide hotline number, I believe it was, and that was just an incredible thing for him to do, to use his platform in a way that shows, hey, I struggle too.
Definitely.
And here's a way we can help each other out who are dealing with that. So that's just something I wanted to bring up because I thought that was pretty cool.
Definitely. And that's honestly a big factor into like what helped me. It was like I dug into music and I found a lot of relatable artists like that, Mac Miller, Logic, just multiple artists that kind of talk about it, Kid Cudi and stuff like that, and make you feel comfortable with it. And that's what I found like really comforting that like people are going through this rather than just myself. When
Right.
you hear a line that like relates a little too hard, it's like, man, like you feel like you're living out someone else's life for sure. So everyone goes through the same thing somewhat, and you just gotta really express yourself and get it out to make people know that other people feel this way too.
Right.
Because you don't feel, you're not bad, you're not going through anything crazy. It's just
and
the
most
time period that you're going
and
through.
most
for sure.
importantly, you're not alone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So that's what I love about it, and that's what I really dug myself into. Maybe 2017 through 19, I definitely was into music, and that's got me through a lot of things too. So that's what I love. I always have a love for music after that, man. Just seeing what I could relate to and kind of help me through. That's what I really like.
Yeah.
So that could be another resource teachers could use or something like that too.
For sure.
But it's always different for sure.
Yeah,
it's not a real educational system, but still, it's like it's a tool.
Yeah, and maybe it's something you do, like we said it again. It's something. It may be an after school thing. It may be a during lunch thing. Just ways you can fit it in any way you can. And I know it calls on an extra load, but for teachers. But I think we're in it for a reason. We're teaching because we want to impact student lives in a positive way, and help them as much as we can. Now everybody has a different belief system, and everybody has a different approach. But I think for the most part, most of these teachers have this mindset of how can we help. So, and it all just depends, because if somebody gets a little too deep and it's something that's like out of my expertise, and we're gonna have to point you in another direction because I can't do anything about it. I'm not certified, but I think that's where it starts. And I had that same professor I was telling you about earlier. He was kind of like one of those ones that told you, when it comes to that point where it's something that you can't talk them through or you can't help them out with, and you do have to point them in a different direction, like, explain that to them. And, let them know, like, you're not trying to, throw them away. You're not trying to abandon them. Like, you're going to walk them to the person. But at that point, it's like, I'm still here with you, but I can't do anything more for you. So
honestly, professional, or at least what they're in is going to be a lot more helpful.
Right,
just
right.
An opinion.
Right.
Sure. So that's what I found out a lot of. And I do a lot of, like, meditation and self-therapy and stuff like that. So it kind of work out your own problems, but still you're just talking kind of to yourself. So you're not fully getting an outside perspective of like what it should be. Yeah. But for the most part, I kind of can put myself in other people's shoes and kind of see what people are going through too. So I can kind of relate and kind of just take that as perspective from it. Yeah. I think just talking helps. Like whenever I'm going through stuff and I like to talk it out, and it really takes a special person. Like I talked it out with Isabel, and with like the other day I called up Caleb Dinsman, and we were able to have a conversation. I explained to him stuff. So little things like that. I think just having somebody you feel comfortable enough with, just talking it out. Caleb Santos does a lot of self-meditation and stuff too. So it's just so interesting, man, that y'all doing this stuff that I never even would have thought of, and it's just so cool. And just the way y'all think, and y'all are all, it's funny because y'all all three are now have interconnected in some way that y'all didn't even know. Like you may not even know, you haven't met these dudes, and by the time I came so it's like man, y'all want to hang out with there you go. Like y'all has, it's just really cool, man. Like and that's the thing, y'all have different backgrounds, different stories. Like I said, it's just so cool how y'all can all definitely just a thing like this can bring it all together. And kind of see the perspectives from everyone else. So that's what's cool on your part as well, man. So you're bringing it to a video and bringing it to platforms, bringing it to social media, dude. So you gotta get it out there somehow. Yeah. So now man. So that's cool though. That's definitely man. That awesome. I don't know. It's a crazy world out here, man. I know it's crazy how like I kind of think of everyone kind of as a snowflake because everyone's always different, but still like. Driving by a house, it's really crazy that like each house has a different story and a different perspective than the one right next to it. Right. That's what I found like the craziest thing, because I'm a delivery driver, so I drive a lot. So I've seen every other house. Like, it's just a different story in every house. That's what I always liked. And growing up, I always liked being a director and stuff like that, just because I can see the story in a lot of things. Like even just seeing like a dog or something like that, seeing a dog's lifestyle. That's a story, like in my eyes for sure, because they go through so much and stuff like that. So I feel like that's the whole gist of what this is all about. Just the experience. Yeah. That's why in the moment when I started off, I was just like, I'm trying to see whatever life's throwing at me, because that's really what I'm doing right now. I'm just going along with the ride. Yeah, that's awesome. Shout out to Teddy. he's asleep now, but man, that is really cool to hear, and to just how far you've grown from whenever you were 10, 11 years old, and just and then middle school trying when you were Try hard.
B team quarterback, man. I love watching you play. But anyways,
QB sneaks. The options, man.
Yeah,
Light me up. Man, I
cool
remember those
stuff.
summer days that Jeffrey would train me, man. I told him I wanted to be a quarterback, and he definitely committed to me being a quarterback, man. When I messed up, he made me run. I remember one time at my grandparents' house, or my grandmother's house, we were running around, and I told him I couldn't make the throw, and he was like, "What'd you say?" I was like, "I can't do it." And man, he made me run with the ball in my hand for like maybe 15, 20 minutes straight, just doing burpee or there and backs, man. So he's definitely a good motivator, and I still remember it to this day. So it definitely made an impact on my life. So it's just people like that. He knew what he was doing. He wasn't being mean or anything like that. He was just letting me know that you can do it, and you can't do anything that you put your mind to, really. So. Or maybe he just made it. Yeah, maybe he just wanted me to run. I don't know.
And that was the last day Nico practiced with. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No.
He gave up his time for sure in the mornings. I remember my mom would drop me off, or I would go to work with her, and he would pick me up maybe around 6:30, and we would work out maybe till maybe noon.
Yeah, cause it was that summer heat, man. So we had to beat it.
Yeah.
But God, that's so funny. I remember that story too. I remember because you said I was telling you, I was mad at you because you said you can't, and I don't like that. I don't like when people say you can't, and sometimes it comes back to bite me because sometimes Isabel's like, "No, I thought you said we can't say we can't. We can't." And I'm like, "Oh crap!" But no, that's funny, man. That was.
I stuck with you for sure. That's what reminds me whenever I'm like, "Oh man, like I'm just gonna give up on this," because that's what I found out later in life. Where it was like once I quit on one thing, it was real easy, and I always heard that, but I really went into a factor and put it to myself, and it's really easy. Once you quit one thing, it just becomes common. It feels like it's more easier to just take that route and just find another route. But that's something that just motivates me, where it's like, well, I can do it. I just gotta put my mind into it, really. Yeah. So that's something that really stuck with me as a kid, and even to this day. Oh, I'm still a kid too, but still.
That's cool, man. I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Man, you had a big impact on my life for sure, man.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Cool, man. Well, I do want to ask you just a couple more questions. What's the best tip you ever received as a delivery driver?
Oh man, that was kind of 2 weeks ago. I took one to
recently
Barton Middle School, and man, they gave me a $50 tip.
Nice, nice. Okay.
But honestly, it's a lot of quick money. It's really kind of the area you're in, and I like it, but it really just took a toll on your car. But man, like, I'm making some quick money, some good money, and it's making me survive. This year, I got an apartment. I'm kind of living pretty steadily. I've got a lot of like bills coming up, but it's really just because I can afford it now. Nice. So I'm enjoying it. It's really just making my lifestyle a little easier, I'd say too.
Yeah. So alternative high school graduate, got some years of college in, decided didn't want to go that route. Delivery driving, but also self-employed. Loving you like what you do at least.
I do. I think the title of it's what really gets to me, but honestly, internally, I enjoy it. I know what I'm doing is good for me and kind of doing what I need to do. I want to make money right now, so that's really benefiting my factor, and it's kind of just money chasing right now. So when I save money, that's all that matters. Once I have enough saved, I'm just comfortable with that. So right now, I'm just continuing that saving, and I'm feeling comfortable right now, but I just want to find myself like saved and kind of in a suitable position for myself. So what I got going on right now is I feel pretty confident about myself. So I have a lot of confidence.
And in today's economy, you're sustaining life. You just got an apartment. It's a really nice apartment too. So you're living this great life, a life that you're content with, you're happy with. Yes. And at the end of the day, as long as you take care of your bills, you have money in your pocket, you have savings, like who's going to really knock you for what you're doing,
That needs to be told a lot more, because a lot of people feel, and especially with a lot of parents, tell the kids, like, if you don't do this, like, they're going to, like, disown you, or they're going to, like, feel not proud of you or something like that. Right. A lot of kids, even I talk to my friends, they feel a lot of stress from that, just from their parents or just loved ones in general. And I think that just has to be taught a little more, that like you have to be comfortable with the life that you're gonna live out, but you're living the life that you choose, really. Right. So like you just gotta live with the decisions you make. Yeah. You just gotta motivate them and kind of lead them in the right path, and kind of get them going on what they need to be going, but still like let them make their own decision, make their own faults and stuff like that, and they'll learn from it for sure. So that's what definitely benefited from me and what my parents kind of taught me. Yeah. So they let me do my own thing, but they let me go wrong. They let me go wrong. If I went right, they were proud of me for sure. So they're always beside my side. Yeah. So there you go. Hands-on learning, life experiences, and it got you to where you are today. And exactly. And it's a little different. I know a lot of people like go through school and kind of just that parent lifestyle and kind of just ease it out for sure and kind of just live that life. But I just never saw myself on that perspective, on that realm for sure, and like that. And like it just trying to live normally like that. Because even internally, I felt like a little struggle. It's like I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing for society. But as I grow up a little more, I'm just like, you're living your life. Not everyone's gonna go on the same path. It's not textbook and everything. So even if I do go back to school, that would be my decision and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to do. But right now, this is like what I'm living comfortably right now. And I'm happy with it. So that needs to be preached a little more for sure. So people don't feel so alone.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And I always tell my students, like, or at least I like them to know. So if you're my students and you're watching this, this is what I want you to know.
Listen up.
Is that if I ever run into you post, high school career or post time that I've worked with you, and you see, like, please come say hi. Like, I do not care what you're into. I don't care if you just got bailed out of jail. Like I want to know what's going on with you. And to speak on that, like, if you're going through a struggle, like, maybe I can help you. Maybe we're brought together for a reason.
Exactly.
So you don't ever have to prove anything to me. You don't ever have to. I think teachers should send that message more. Parents as well. Like, you don't ever have to prove anything to me. It's life. Life gets hard. Life gets sticky.
Definitely.
But all we can do is do our best to get through it. So yeah, I mean, it's just like, I don't care if you're, my cashier at HEB. I don't care. You know what I mean? Actually, I'm gonna be like, hey, give me a discount, man, because groceries are going up. So
exactly. Yeah, but it's man. It's just about talking to someone. Relating to someone, and someone that you just reach out to them, because there's a lot of people on this planet. You don't know everyone, but the maybe 50, 60 people you gotta for sure just keep them in the loop. And connections come out of anything, dude. So you never really know what they come out of it. Even if it's just a friendship or just someone you talk to one day a week, one day a month, that's could be benefiting them. They don't talk to a lot of people, so definitely could help them out. Could help yourself out.
For sure.
That's what I enjoy, man. I enjoy helping others. I like putting myself in other people's perspectives and other people's shoes and kind of helping them out. I was always helping someone else rather than helping myself. So that's what I'm still trying to learn right now, rather than just like focus on yourself rather than what someone else is going through.
Yeah.
So. Internal struggles.
That's
struggles.
good. Hey, his memoir. No, but but that's a good struggle to have, because internally, like, if that's your mindset, like, I want to help others, and I do that too. And like, I tell you what, like,
I know that.
Like,
you know me a lot, dude. Definitely.
Like, I love seeing that kind of content go viral, because we always see the other stuff go viral, the funny stuff or the bad stuff. But when I got a few guys who I follow, and they just give out money to random people, like, and sometimes it's something strange, like this dude I follow, Jimmy Darts, and he'll just like ask somebody to like play patty cake with him or something random, man.
Like that,
and the person who finally does it, he gives them like $500 at the end of it all, and they're just like, what? Like, so it's like, so if anybody ever asks you to play patty cake, sing a song or something, then just do it, because what are you gonna lose, man? Like, come on.
Even if you lose, still you're gonna win.
Yeah. So it's just cool to kind of see those connections he makes with people who, and sometimes they're going through a struggle, and sometimes they start breaking down because it's like literally a blessing they needed. And so, I don't know. I love seeing that kind of stuff. And so, I wish I had $500 to pass out to people, because that'd be really cool. But,
no, honestly, it's really just about that enjoyment.
Right.
Just hearing that reminded me of the movie with Will Smith, The Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah.
There was a scene with his younger son, and they were saying that, I believe, that he was asking God for help. And he was explaining the story, and he was asking God for help because he was in the river. And sure enough, God kept sending him boats, and he kept denying it because he said God was going to help him out. And once he finally passed, he talked to God and asked him why he didn't help him, and he was giving him all these resources.
Yeah.
He told you, I send you 2 boats. Like, you need to take the resources I'm giving you. You need to actually take in what's in front of you for sure. So that's what I always feel like whenever something approaches me or something happens, it's coming for a reason. So you can't just brush it off like that, even if it is just patty cake.
Yeah.
So that's something you need to just do. And maybe that'll come out. Maybe that's a sign. Maybe that's some reason they're coming up to you for a reason.
Right.
So that's something I always lived with. I always liked that saying.
Gosh,
I love that one. I always lived to that one.
I remember that scene. Now you make me want to watch that movie.
Oh, yeah. No slapping on that one though with Will Smith.
Man. I was still thinking about the scene I just processed.
That's a great movie, and I like movies like that kind of give you a little motivational like line or something like that.
Yeah.
You kind of sit with you for your whole life, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movies like that. Even one of our favorites, Friday Night Lights. Man, there's just a lot of sayings on there that I can relate to and kind of just in my life, even if it's not football, like you can still relate to that stuff because a lot of people go through that struggle, or you can put it in your perspective at least.
Right.
Man. So I love that. We need that more.
For sure. Yeah, I think we all need a little change in mindset shifting, and we just got to help each other more, love each other more, and just man, because life's already hard enough on its own, man.
Yeah,
I don't know how many
definitely.
times I say that a day, but life's already too hard. Let's not make it harder. So, man, that's awesome. It's been really awesome. That's all my questions that I have for you.
Oh, man.
I don't know if you have any questions for me. So it's up to you.
Let's see. Let me see if I have one in the vault for sure. Mr. P, I mean, how was your experience so far? Kind of switching up these schools, like opportunities for yourself. Would you say like you kind of benefited from kind of moving around, getting different type of heads, different type of faces going in, or was it kind of hard to get your feet wet and just moving to a next one already?
Yeah. So, man, that's a good question because and I always say this: I have no regrets, but I have regrets. So, when I taught my first year at Lehman, and it was a struggle for me. Any first year is usually a struggle for teachers, and I really struggled, and I barely survived the year, and then I left, and I always regret, but don't regret leaving, because I just wonder like what would have been like if my other students who went on to a different teacher would come back and see me in the hallway and just say what's up, say hi, and just and then see how I would grow as a teacher in that environment. My second year wasn't a great experience for many reasons, but the students were still great. Like I loved my interaction, even at Lehman, even though I had trouble with a lot of them. My classroom management was just, man, it really needed some work with those kids. It was a fun experience, and I remember a lot of those kids. A lot of those kids still come to mind, and just I wonder what they're up to now. I wonder what so and so's doing. And so I don't go to Kyle a whole lot, so I haven't really bumped into any of those kids that I can think of. But just randomly, sometimes they'll come to my thought. Like I'll just see a random face, and I think, oh, what was that kid's name? Ah, man, I wonder what he's doing now. It's like kid I haven't thought of in so long. I haven't seen in so long. So no, but for those kids, I really do wish the best. A couple of those classes we really got close, and I think they could. They definitely made me earn my stripes. So sometimes I do regret that, but it got me to where I am now, and so I think all that experience, I've gotten valuable stuff from all the schools I've been at. Taking that into the alternative high school, I think, really helps me there because it's more about that connection and helping the students graduate, get to where they want to be. So. Definitely. I take those pieces of what I did there and use that here, but I always sit on that. What if I would have stayed there? What if I wouldn't have gone here? And
you can do that all day with them.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah. So no, I mean, so to answer your question, I think, it was definitely the plan for me. It was not the plan I had envisioned at all. My plan went very differently. My pursuit of teaching, I thought I was going to be at one school my entire career, and it didn't happen. And so. It's growing pains, and but you get to see a lot of different stuff. You get to impact a lot of different students, and though it was short-lived, I think I did make meaningful impact. And obviously the students I still have coming on with me today, students that I may run into at the store, stuff like that. So I definitely think I played my part. I think I played my part, and
the students that are involved for sure really enjoy your presence and stuff
right.
like that, enjoy what you have to say, so
right.
you definitely made an impact on their lives, so that's a big factor into what you do.
Yeah, so
the reason you do what you do.
Yeah, and so it's the neat thing about it is I still live in the area surrounding those first three schools I've been at, not the current school I'm at. I have to commute there, but these three schools I'm at. So what's cool about it is like the last school I was at, I coached there a little bit too, so I all last season I went to just about every home game and stuff, and the players would always come up and say what's up and catch up. So that's I love that. That's the beauty in it. I can still go back and support them, and if I've seen them here, I can hey good to see you and stuff. Even like one time I was at the spot, we were watching a movie, and there was some young lady who came in, and she was wearing a mask because this is still closer to COVID and stuff, and so. I was like, man, even though I could only see her eyes, I was like, this student looks familiar, and I guess she was a young adult now, but she came up to me and I was like, did you go to San Marcos High School? And she's like, yeah, I did. And I was like, what is your name? And so it turns out she wasn't one of my students, but she was one of the students I tutored when I worked in Avid as a tutor.
Something like
I was just like, she's like, what? You remember me after all this time? I was like, you look so familiar. I was like. And then I started talking about some of her classmates and who we remembered and stuff, and so it made her freaking night. She was like, she was like,
yeah. You love to see that, man.
So
the good old days.
Yeah. So it's cool. I'm cool with it. I've accepted it. I do always wonder though, but I think it's benefited me in the long run for
That's
sure.
good though. At least it's helping your side too, for
Yeah.
sure, rather than just going school to school and kind of just seeing student to student. And
Right.
just taking that year and like moving on to the next. Like,
Right.
There's more to that for sure.
And yeah, and on the other side of it, I've gotten to see different ways that school districts run and administration runs. So
Definitely.
I think it's given me a more well versed insight on how successful schools run, how unsuccessful schools run, and what are the root causes for it. So I think I have better insight on that.
That's really good though. You
So-
can see what works and what doesn't.
Right,
work.
exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. So
Just having opinions to some places that you would go, man.
For
Like,
sure.
"Oh, I saw this work over here, so we should try it out a little bit. Or
yeah,
at least have a
exactly,
good opinion.
exactly,
Yeah, definitely.
exactly,
So, That's good,
exactly.
man. You get the experience, and that's the best thing about life, man. Just gotta take the experiences, keep going day by day.
Yes,
Sun's
sir.
gonna keep coming up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, that's a good question, though. Yeah, I like that. I like that. You got anything else for me, or?
Man, I think that might be it.
That might be
man.
it? All right.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. Any questions off the top of my head?
All right. Well, I got one more question for you, because why not? What is the song you're listening to the most right now? Who is the artist, and why is that song are you
man.
listening to the most right now?
As of right now, it would be The Star Room by Mac Miller. It's an intro off of watching movies with the sound off, and I enjoy it. It's just a little like not depressing, but it definitely opens your eyes and like speaks about stuff that's not originally on a Drake song or a Post Malone song or something
Right.
like that. So that's what I prefer. Kind of just internal struggles type of thing, and kind of therapy, putting it all on a mic, because that's honestly all they are. I remember one line he had was okay, maybe I don't remember that line. He has a lot of memorable lines for sure that kind of just stick with me and kind of motivate me throughout the day. If I'm feeling a certain way, I just kind of go back to that song, or that song will come on, and
Yeah.
or any song he has, really, regardless, and kind of just make me feel okay with what I'm at right now, or whatever I was kind of going through.
Yeah.
For right now, I think The Star Room right now, or maybe even another song called Stuck by West Side Boogie, but I just enjoy the sound of it. It's a good sonic sound, but a lot of them have like internal struggles and like issues that they're dealing with inside the song, so
Yeah.
it's just relatable, and I could kind of just relate to it for sure, so I enjoy it, and I got a good little 808s beats to it, so can't go wrong.
There you go. There you go. Interesting. All right. Cool.
Do you have a song you're listening to on repeat right now?
I really don't. I was trying to think about it just in case you came back at me with that one, but
I was trying to think you put me on the spot a little bit.
to speak on Mac Miller though, if you haven't seen his NPR Tiny Desk concert, go check it out. It's really
Definitely.
2009. I was just like so moved by it. That was the very first time I heard it on that platform. Like I was just like, oh gosh, like it just touched me so. Man, but no,
I
me.
really enjoy that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
definitely enjoy that.
So-
Just getting it out there and kind of just expressing how you feel.
Yeah.
Man. You could see how he's feeling in that song too. So just seeing it performed, man, like definitely beautiful thing for sure, man. It's
Yeah.
definitely a beautiful thing, and just living your life out, putting everything in your life into an ink pen, man.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of just relate to it and kind of just invest into it. So I enjoy it, man. You can tell he puts time into the craft. So
Oh, yeah.
that's what I
Oh, yeah.
definitely enjoy.
He did. That he did. But yeah, so I don't know, man. To answer your question, I really don't. I'm not listening to. I mean, some songs here and there, like, but they're not. It's more because I love singing along to them. It's
Definitely, man.
nothing that deep, but like,
I feel you, man. It's just like the double entendres and stuff
Yeah.
for me, man. That's what I love, man.
yeah,
Oh man, there's a lot of them, and I just hear them, and I'm like, that could mean this, but I relate to it in this, but he could mean it in this way.
Yeah.
So it's just like, man, like there's so many things for a song, and it's just one line.
yeah,
Like nobody knows me. Oh well, it's fine because we're staying like in a 5-star hotel, but it's just like nobody knows him. Like he's an artist, but still like nobody knows his internal
Yeah.
struggle type of thing.
Yeah.
How he feels, but he's living the lavish life. So like,
Yeah.
who really cares at that point? Does he really care? So just
Yeah.
a lot of those lines where it's like, is it really as deep as it is, or
yeah,
is it really that perspective? But it just I enjoy the different perspectives he's
Yeah.
coming from, and that's what I live my life out of. Kind of when I say things, I kind of relate it to other people, or kind of benefit it to other people because they can relate to it too.
true.
So that's what I enjoy, man.
Cool. So I take it back. There is one of the songs I'm listening to most right now. It's a country song, but it's called "Till You Can't,"
Okay.
and I believe it's by Cody Johnson, and it's basically talking about living the moment, taking advantage, you know, of doing the things you can right now because one day you're not going to be able to. So,
Definitely, exactly.
So it's that kind of message. I love that song right now. It brings a lot to me because, you know, I have those thoughts a lot of like, man, I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have done this when I could have. You know, sometimes I'm driving home, I'm like, man, I wish I could call my brother, man. I just want to, like, I have a question, and it's like,
Yeah.
So that song right now is really, you know, it's a country song, and you know, people feel some type of way about country, but
Yeah.
the lyrics on it are kind of what really makes me feel like, hey, I really like this.
Definitely, dude. So yeah, there's a lot of just good songs out there and stuff you can relate to, man. Like I always enjoy Jack Johnson and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
Songs, yeah.
I forgot about Jack Johnson,
definitely.
man.
Just a few, man. When you go to school or something, man, put a few on the way to work in the mornings. You have a good little morning, man. I enjoy it.
I was listening to him a lot when I was at UT my first year because I felt so isolated, so alone. I don't know, for some reason his music just kind of brought me up. Yeah.
It brings me up, man. So I'm like, man, I listen to it in the morning. I enjoy it, man. It really gets me ready for the day, man. But a lot of artists, like, even just for like how you feel, like Elliott Smith was a good one for me too.
Okay.
Even kind of just listening to like the Strokes and stuff. It's just opening your eyes to like different music out
Yeah.
there. That's what I found out was like there's so much out there. I used to only be rap and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But even just anything like movies and stuff, I would kind of just open my eyes to like independent films and just like films I wouldn't watch but then I watch and I'm like, man, like this is really inspirational or kind of I can relate to it even though it's like about astronauts or something like that, man. It's just going through what they have to go through and like seeing the actual internal struggle and just the struggles of life and family in general.
Yeah.
What I'm all about, man. Gone through a lot, so it's like you get to kind of relate to it and kind of it's not that bad.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. There's always somebody else who's maybe a little bit worse off. Somebody, you know, you got to empathize a little bit because you know the struggle that you're dealing with. While it is a struggle and it's difficult, not trying to take away from it, but you know it could be worse,
Definitely,
right? So
definitely. So that's why I always like seeing myself in other people's shoes for sure and kind of seeing their perspective.
Yeah.
It can always be worse.
That's good. That's good stuff,
Definitely,
man. Well. Man, we good? Anything? Oh, I do. One last one. Sorry.
One more.
So this is, you know, student section is all about the students. It's all about learning from my teacher's perspective. But eventually, I'm thinking of doing like an own personal podcast just for fun. Caleb Denson's my inspiration. Another shout out to him. But he's you know, basically his therapy for, you know, his overthinking, his, you know, whatever he's dealing with is he's making this podcast and he's just getting it out. And so. It's just kind of, it's a good thing for him. So me, it'd probably be the same kind of thing, but also it's an interest of mine. Like, so I wanted to do something where I just maybe talk about random stuff, the stuff that's on my mind, stuff that may be happening, but different stuff. So like with you, being that you're sports whiz, you're really into sports and stuff like that. If I ever do a podcast and we're gonna talk sports, will you be on it?
I'm your guy, man. I'll be on it. I kind of felt like this was a little bit of that, a good little mixture. Because I ramble a lot. I kind of just like go off a topic, but I just say whatever's on my mind now.
Well, see, that's the beauty of it. I mean, this whole purpose is for me to learn and grow, and for other teachers who are listening to learn and grow, anybody who's listening to learn and grow.
Definitely.
And that could be whether the first thing you talked about, the second, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many ways we can grow. You know, as a person and as a teacher, and so it doesn't mean necessarily it has to be all academic. It has to be, you know, all about this, all about the schools. No, there's other ways we can kind of grow. So
live the life for sure. But that's a good way of
exactly.
Putting it for sure.
So no, this is beautiful. So I really do appreciate your time, cuz.
I appreciate you putting me on, man.
And
this is a big thing. And
yeah.
You're kind of just going out there and doing it yourself, man. Like you're going out your way. No one's setting all this up, man. So I'm proud of you for doing all this.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Yeah. So yeah, please, if you're still here, I know we have long episodes, but I promise you'll get something out of them.
Yes, definitely. Hopefully you stay till the end.
Yes, stay involved. Maybe one day I'll have to do like a free giveaway so that people who actually finish will be able to. But
there's a code throughout the video.
Yeah, but seriously, appreciate your time. Please do like, share, and subscribe just to help get it out there. It's not about blowing up or anything, but just maybe somebody needs to hear it, and you might know them. Share this video. Chapter 4, it's in the books. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me. For sure, it was an honor.
Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Thank you.
Peace
Take
out.
care. Bye-bye.